Hey everybody, it's Greg and welcome back to Seven Woods Farm. So I wasn't really planning on making this video today, but due to the circumstances and what I was doing today on the farm, I thought it'd be a good one because I know I've run into this before and I know some of you out there probably have as well. Today what we got is a stuck implement PTO shaft. So I got my auger here, my PTO driven auger, and I put it on last week to drill some holes and I kept it on there. We've had some weather come in, a little bit of moisture, and what I think happened was as the rain came in, kind of seized the PTO shaft onto the PTO of the tractor, and it got stuck. So obviously I started with the normal stuff, went out and greased the PTO, shot some PB blaster down in there as best I could to make sure that it, was getting properly lubricated. But to no avail, still wouldn't come loose. I'm pulling, and it's still nothing happening. I got a board. I was trying to pound it different ways to try and see if it'll come off. Got a rubber mallet. I was hitting it from the side, trying to make sure I didn't damage any of the PTO or the shield that goes around the PTO, which is obviously in my way. But ultimately I had to come up with a different plan because this thing was really on there. Now, I should have known right off the bat that when I put this thing on last week, despite the fact that I lubricated it, I had to force it on. I took a rubber mallet and I kind of tapped it into place to make sure that it was seated properly so I wasn't going to damage the PTO shaft on the tractor. So when you're going to do that and you got to force it on to begin with, you might have a problem taking it off, especially if you leave it on for any given period of time. So this is an old auger. It actually probably needs to be replaced at some time soon, but it still works, so I still use it. I don't use it a lot. And I don't know if anybody's out there familiar with putting these on or off, but it is a chore and it is not something that's fun to do. But ultimately, before I could even get it in place, I got to remove the PTO shaft before I start disconnecting anything else. So what I'm going to show you guys today is how I ended up removing it. So I just got it done, and I'm going to show you the process I went through to remove the implement shaft from the PTO on the tractor. So what you're going to need first is a hard tree, something that you can basically pull on when you're going to try and put some tension onto the PTO shaft itself. Ultimately, you can't really get in there with anything, and you don't want to damage the PTO shaft on the tractor anyway, so pounding away in there, you got to be very careful with doing that. What you'll need is just a regular ratchet strap. I got one here. I think this one's rated for like around 5,000 pounds or so. And what you're going to do is you're going to back up to a tree. Like we got here, I got this old cedar tree that's along the tree line of where I park all my implements. And you got to get close enough to where you can reach it with the strap. So let's go ahead and I'm going to demonstrate how this is going to work here. So take your strap and, sorry about the bouncing around, wrap it around the tree and make sure it ain't going to come off of there. So we'll put a little tension on it. Then we're going to come over this side. We're going to take the other end of the strap and we're going to put it onto the yoke of the PTO. There we go. We'll loosen our strap, put a little bit of slack in there. We're just going to take the end of it. We're just going to take the end of it. We're going to put it right here in the yoke. So once it's in the yoke and it's secured, go ahead and start pulling some. We're going to cut that part out. Go ahead and let's put that back on there. Cut. All right, there we go. Okay, we're going to do that again. So go ahead, take your hook from your strap and go ahead and put it in the yoke of the shaft. So from there, you want to go ahead, pull some tension on it, and then start ratcheting. Put some good tension on it, and then as you can tell, once you get the right angle, depending on how it's wedged on there, you might have to finagle it a little bit to make sure that you do have the right angle. If you want to put it on the bottom, if that's better, or on the top, it depends. In this situation, because it's an auger and the shaft is going up towards the bit, it made sense to put it on the bottom. Plus that's the kind of the angle that it looked like it was jammed on there in anyways. So once the tension's on, now you can do one of two things, and I'm only going to recommend the first. I'm not saying the second wouldn't work either. The first thing you can do, and this should do it, I'd say 9 out of 10 times, is to start ratcheting. As you keep putting tension on this, you're going to ratchet it, and it's going to pull itself off, just like that. You don't have too much tension, you don't have a whole lot of stored energy to where something's going to come flying off at you, and then it should just come off, just like mine did there. Obviously, since I just busted it loose, it came off rather easy. But in this case, what I had to do, it took a little bit more than that. Now, I didn't want to just jump in the tractor and go ahead and try and drive forward. That I would not recommend. Although, to say it wouldn't work, I'd probably be lying, because I think it would. But you should really, for safety measures, rely on the ratchet strap itself. If you can't ratchet it off with a 5,000-pound strap, then you got another problem, and it might be seized on there. You might have to just take extra measures anyways, and you're just going to force it off. If you tried going forward with the tractor, you're probably going to break something, so I definitely don't recommend that. So in this circumstance, what I had to do, once it was on there, and I put the hook into the yoke of the PTO shaft on the implement here, I just had to lightly tap it with the hammer. So I took my mallet, and I started pounding around the yoke, and then as I did that, as I pounded it on the bottom and then on the top, I could see it ever so slightly starting to give. And as it starts to give, you can tell that you're going to be home free there in just a second. So I gave it about 4 or 5 little whacks, and then it came off little by little, and ultimately it just fell right off, as in this case here. So again, a ratchet strap, super easy to do. Put it around the yoke, put it around a tree or some other, whether it's a pole or something like that, whatever you got nearby. And don't get on the tractor, don't drive forward to try and force it off. Just get a ratchet strap and keep that tension on it. It will come off if you just give it a few minutes. And then, like I said, on mine, I had to hit it with the hammer just a little bit to start loosening it up. Now, before you try any of that, I still recommend making sure you lubricate it, because that's really what's causing you the problem to begin with. You can see I put a bunch of lubrication of PB Blaster down in there. You can see how moist the end of that PTO shaft is. And then once it started to give, the little bit of rust that was built up was able to come unseized, and it slid right off after that. So wasn't planning on making this video, guys, but it's just something that on the farm here, you never know what you're going to come across. You got to come up with new innovative ways to try and get stuff done. And this obviously put me back from moving hay this morning, but it gave me the opportunity to make this video for you. So we're going to be doing more of this stuff, more how-to videos, more farm work in general. And please go ahead and subscribe to my channel, Seven Woods Farms. I'll share my experiences with you. Comment down below, hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next time. All right, guys, real quick, I wanted to do a quick shout out to Mahindra. We're over here working, we're moving hay, just general farm work, and this Mahindra 4550 is bad A. I love it. It is a workhorse. I've had this thing probably about 3.5 years now. And we're gonna do a full review on it here since now I got my channel rolling and we got more things going on. But I'll be doing another review, and this time it'll be on the Mahindra 4550 itself. I'll tell you the things I like, the things I don't like, but really it's a good machine. It's done me well. It's done everything I've needed it to do and then some. As you can tell, I got my pallet forks on here. We're just moving some hay and moving some other pallet material around. But it is a good tractor, but there is some things about it that I feel could be improved from Mahindra. But really, for the bang for the buck, it's hard to beat Mahindra tractors. This thing is big, it is beefy. The frame on it, you start comparing the similar models out there from the different color tractors, the oranges, the greens, the blues. This one's really hard to beat for the price, and we're gonna give it a full review. So join me for that. That'll be coming in a future video. Till then, thanks guys, subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you next time.